And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your wedding chat entertainment, we have got Jeremy Brech and Dave Ternier going for a walk.
Hold on a second. So this is usually where I have Dave take care of all the chats and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to actually follow along with the chats this day. And so we're getting our amazing intro from John. And all of a sudden, the music from the video on Facebook is blaring. I'm like, I can't hear anything. Oh my gosh! All right, so hold on, everybody. I'm going to follow along. See, now I can hear myself. There we go. All right, I'm good.
You're good, are you?
I made it. Hey, look, Mom, I made it.
Oh, good evening, friend.
Hi, Dave. We are so unorthodox, like all the time, I think.
Unorthodox, unorganized. I'm juggling family tonight. Folks, this is a real live show tonight, he'll tell you that.
This is as live as it gets. That is true. And there's one person watching. I think it's me. Well, hey, it's good to be back. And, 2 weeks ago, we were on with Perfect Portals. Awesome. That was a fun chat. It was cool to see just the people kind of interacting with what they're doing and how they're doing it. And I talked to those guys a couple days later. They're like, yeah, people have reaching out to us, and we're excited to be able to help people implement some really cool things into their DJ EP. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that one the last time, go check it out. Again, it was a great conversation.
Keith and Karen. Yep.
Yeah, Keith and Karen were just fantastic, and we appreciate everything that they've done for my business. I know your business, as well as a lot of some of the other industry people in what we do. So there's a lot going on in our industry right now. There's a lot going on. I think what I would like to focus on today is probably just mental health. I don't know. What do you think?
It's been a recent topic, actually. It's funny because for anybody watching, no, Jeremy and I did not talk about this before, but it's funny you mentioned that, Jer, because just this past weekend in the weekly newsletter that the Canadian Professional Disc Jockey Association sends out to its members every week, we actually highlighted mental health in that newsletter this week. And we actually have a psychologist writing up a special piece for us for this coming week's newsletter specific to the special events industry, because I know a lot of people who are, you can kind of see it on the surface, right? That they're trying to keep a whole lot of stuff buried right now.
I had a really good conversation this afternoon with a group, and someone that I really look up to, and who I always feel is just always has the answers and always strong. We got towards the end of the meeting, and I mean, he didn't emotionally break down, but you could just see there's a struggle, and we were an ear and just listening and trying to help him. How do you react to what you're currently going through? And I think a lot of the DJs who are, I don't want to call hobbyists, but a lot of the DJs who are just kind of doing this on the side, probably not affecting them as much as some of us full-timers and some of the people who rely strictly on this type for income. So to hear, again, I mean, this is somebody I really look up to, and I think holds a really high torch in our industry. And I think a lot of people recognize this individual, but to see them almost fragile in the conversation. And that's kind of why I brought this up, because yeah, you're right. We didn't talk about any of this. You actually jumped on about 5 seconds before we went live. Well, you guys all saw it. And so I think it's extremely important to recognize, not just in yourself, but maybe others in your industry, other people in your market, maybe not in your industry, but just in weddings in general or events in general. Maybe reach out to somebody, a venue, and just say, hey, how you doing? Because that might be all they need just to put a smile on their face, or just to maybe relieve and spill some of the stuff that's on their mind.
Yeah. Well, and and something else, even just within our industry, I will admit I was really good about this for the first maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Once a day, once every 2 days, I would just randomly message a DJ that I know and say, "Hey, hey, John, just checking in. Like, how are you doing? Things are crazy right now. Just wanted to, see that you're still around and whatever."
Yeah.
And that led to some really great conversations. Admittedly, as this has become quote unquote normal over the last 4 to 5 weeks, right? We're all kind of settled into what this is now. I have ceased doing that with the frequency that I did before. So that's something I need to get back to doing, because not only does it really get picked up by the recipient very, very well when someone checks in on them, I think it actually does something for the person who's doing the checking in too.
Yeah.
So, if I could just be one quick takeaway right now, if everybody watching, commit to yourself, just message one DJ a day. Say, "Hey, dude, this is just a random hello. I wanted to check in."
Hashtag DJ a day. There you go. That's perfect.
DJ a day. I like it.
DJ a day. So let's talk about some things that maybe you're doing, or you've heard other DJs doing, or other lighting companies doing, some of the things to just kind of keep you still fresh. I mean, you don't want to have these, 3 months off, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, I got to do a wedding now. I haven't done one of these in 3 months. How do you keep yourself tuned? How do you keep that well-oiled machine? I think those are some great things. And this is where I want people in the chat to kind of feedback with us and let us know, what are you doing? What are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for other DJs or other people in the event industry? So I'm going to ask you that. What are you personally doing for yourself just to kind of keep, that mental health, as well as keep your machine oiled?
Well, I mean, as I think I've mentioned here before, I've decided to fully occupy my brain. Well, when it's not managing the homeschooling for our girls here now, which is coming to a close. I'm very excited to say I've had a blast. Look, it's been a really, really sincere pleasure being involved directly in my children's education. Like, I've been gifted over the last 8 weeks. It really, really has. But of course, it's also been taxing as well. So with the good comes the counterbalance to that good. I don't want to call it the bad, because it's not.
Yeah. Right.
But I am keeping myself very mentally awake, per se, with my new little Country of the Week project, which Jeremy knows I can go on and on about, so I won't here. But it has been a real place of solace for me, like, is maybe how I could describe it. Right? It allows me to keep building, to keep imagining, to keep creating, to keep pushing that creativity that I do enjoy exercising.
Yeah.
And it's probably actually, I'm glad you asked this now, I maybe don't give it enough credit for the mental well-being that it has provided me with. It has given me this space. So that's up here how I've been keeping busy. That said, I did have a wedding consult the other day. It went very, very well.
Awesome. In person?
Through video.
Okay.
And like 20 minutes in, the three of us realized we all love mountain biking. So, I mean, it was a pretty smooth ride from there on.
That's awesome.
And that was for a June 2021 wedding. So
okay.
Yeah.
So I actually just got a phone call last week, and they're like, "Hey, our DJ backed out on us, June 20th. Are you available?" And, so that's the crazy thing. You're going to see people realizing, hey, we can still do our event. We can do this. And you're also going to run into the situation where you're going to see companies not available for the redate that people are looking for. So again, keep your sales mind, keep it fresh, keep it going as well. One of the things that I've personally been doing is, for mental health, or just my health in general, because I mean, I'm not lifting road cases anymore. I'm not lifting heavy DJ equipment, and there's so much physical activity that I'm not doing. I used to go to the gym all the time, and I'm going to be honest, I still haven't been to the gym. I would love to go to the gym. But
I love thinking about going to the gym.
Yeah, I know. I just feel so much better. But I've been going on walks every night, and if I'm not walking, I'm running. I actually, for my birthday coming up, The family got me a smartwatch. It is not an iWatch or an Apple Watch, whatever they call it. But it does, it keeps track of your steps, and it keeps track of how many stairs that you climbed today, and those type of things. And I think, just having that accountability, because, I'll look at this thing and it'll say, hey, you should get up and move. I'm like, crap, I really should get up and move. But just the time when you're running, and the time, same thing like you talked about when you mountain bike, it kind of gives you an opportunity to clear your head and just kind of start like, okay, what do I need to think about? What do I need to be focused on right now?
Yeah.
And there's so many great quotes that I've seen, and some of them are, the more you focus on the negative, the more negative you're going to have. If you focus on the positive, you're going to have more positive. And
Right.
I think that's what people need to start doing is thinking about not what you can't handle, but maybe what you can handle and how you can react from it.
Yeah, very true. It's been really fun, and I'll tell you, Jeremy, too. Jeremy, you should get the Strava app on your phone.
Is that the drink of water thing?
No, Strava is like the most popular app that cyclists use to track all their rides, but it also is good for walking, running, kayaking. Whatever workout you can possibly imagine. But it has a fun social element to it where if you were to join Strava right now, I would probably get a notification that says, hey, Dave, your Facebook friend, Jeremy Brech, just joined Strava. Click here to follow him. And so I can see your workouts, comment on them, yada, yada, yada. And the number of DJs in the last 8 weeks that have found me on Strava because they're now going walking, like you mentioned, or something like that, because they have this time, right?
Yeah.
It's been really fun. And Blake Belcher, who's a great friend out in St. Catharines, Ontario, he and his boys have been cycling a bit. So I told him about Strava, and he downloaded it the other day. And I saw his first ride on Strava, and I commented on it and gave him kudos. And he messaged me. He's like, this is really great. So we can encourage each other and that type of thing now. I'm like, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, check out Strava, everybody. It's a great way for us all to have a physical activity type of connection, which Facebook doesn't give us at all.
Right. So I'm, like I said, I am the one checking out the Facebook chat here tonight. And if you have things that you're doing that kind of help with your mental health or kind of helping you through, some of these times, post them in there. I'd be happy to see, or I'd be excited to see what you guys are putting. And, as I'm reading this, Dave, I think John labeled this incorrectly, or we never got our title updated because it says, what type business structure should I have? ? LLC, S Corp, sole proprietorship. This is not us, John.
I don't know. We had just a catch-up night. Is what ours was called tonight?
Oh, I don't see it. Maybe I'm on the wrong one. Maybe I'm watching an old video. See, this is why I don't get in charge of this stuff.
That's hilarious. So who knows? Anyway, if you have questions, just comment away, of course.
Yeah, just forget me. So again, we talked about physical activity. I think physical activity is something, again, that people should keep in mind, because again, you're not going out doing your thing like you do every weekend.
Yeah.
You're not picking up the equipment. You're not. So again, just, find a physical activity that you enjoy doing and allow that to clear your mind, allow that to, kind of rebuild your muscles.
Yeah.
You're going to need that.
And look, you don't need, an expensive mountain bike. You don't need the best trainers in the world for running. You just need 2 feet and a heartbeat. Go and walk. If you need some perspective on this, my God, just Bill Herman, Alan Marshall, all these guys. They go out and walk, and you should see how it has transformed their lives and what it's done to them and what they've inspired other people to do. In fact, the next time I see somebody write their board on Facebook, I'm going to reply back, go take a walk. Go take a walk. My wife has started walking recently. She needs to get out and do some more things. She struggles with finding enough time to do workouts and this type of thing, but the weather's nice. And so she's now taking our little dog out for walks, and she just comes back, and the expression on her face the moment she walks in the door is just extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's really incredible what just getting outside and breathing some air does. If this is something you can do where you live. I know every part of the world is different with the restrictions in place right now. So, just that caveat, of course, should be acknowledged.
So, okay, we talked about physical activity. What are, you talked about just going outside, getting some breath of fresh air. What are some things in your area? Again, not knowing what everybody's restrictions are, but what are some things besides physical activity, such as running, biking, those type of things? What are you guys doing? Kids, family, what are you guys doing?
You know what? I mean, I'm trying to go biking with the girls, that type of thing, but we've already talked about that.
Yeah.
I will say with my wedding family in this area, most, not every, but most Wednesday nights, we get together for about, an hour of chatter. What's the latest news? What latest government supports have to come into play? The change in restrictions, does that mean anything for us? And then after that, it's drinks for 2 or 3 hours. Now, I'm not going to sit here and advocate drinking. Have we been consuming more alcohol in the last 8 weeks? There's probably a slight uptick, yes. And my wife and I even chatted about it last week, and we're like, you know what? I mean, it's just, we just need to consciously restrain, because it's too easy for it to just disappear.
Yeah.
Right. And that might sound funny, but it's also true. But having these Wednesday evening drinks, in fact, I've already gotten messages tonight. Hey, Dave, are you joining us on tonight's Zoom chat with, West Mattawaning area? It has been an absolute blast. There was a couple Wednesdays ago, we were up till midnight, 1 a.m, and it just felt good to be one with my community here.
Yeah, I agree. We were actually on a bunch of the with some groups where it was like, hey, just have a drink and chill on the couch, and we'll just kind of have fun. And that happened really early on, and I think a lot of those have kind of fallen off. And again, I think what our topic is here tonight, I think we see a lot of that just because people are going through almost this state of depression of, we're not, this didn't clear in 3 or 4 weeks like we were hoping it was going to. This is a lot longer. Now we're 3 months in. And so, I think I've seen a lot of those kind of, fall off. But again, I think that is a really good idea of, it's just like going to a bar and having a drink with people.
It is.
It's a social activity.
It is.
So, and you don't have to drink, like you said. It doesn't have to be about alcohol. It's about conversation.
It's about conversation. It's about camaraderie. It's about sharing the burden. It's about understanding that the burden is not yours alone. We've all got it to varying degrees, depending on our situations. And it's just really great to laugh with people again and share stories of crazy weddings or whatever the case might be, or the latest politics or whatever it might be.
Yeah. So I think you had a really good a good thing that you had mentioned earlier. You talked about how you're getting an opportunity to go bike riding with your girls, and you're getting some family time and those type of things. I think that is another thing that we kind of forget about when we're in business, is you do need to have that quality family time. And right now is the time to take advantage of that quality time. I think that is, that's one thing that I've noticed. We are fortunate. We have a place at a lake that's about an hour and 40 minutes. And it's kind of our vacation, our home away from home, when we just need a different scenery, when we need something else to kind of occupy our atmosphere. And, we did kayaking, and again, we talked about physical activity. I think physical activity really is a great way to reduce mental health, or help with mental health. I'm sorry.
I think it absolutely is. Yeah. Get the oxygen, moving through your blood, and get everything moving, get those muscles moving, I can't think with my chosen physical activity when I'm able to get out and do it, which has been limited, I will concede, but with my chosen physical activity, mountain biking, I can't a lot of the time think about much else. Because I'm navigating those tree roots up ahead, and that rock just jarred me. And no joke, like it's really interesting how much I cannot think about when I'm mountain biking. It's incredible. I mean, I remember listening to an interview with a God, what podcast was this? I forget now. But anyway, he was a professional rally car driver, and he's since retired from that. But in order to keep his mind at the level of sharpness that rally car driving requires, because he's out in the bush and, bombing here and there, and he now does downhill mountain biking because there's nothing that requires your attention like that. You can't think about anything else, or you will end up smashing your face into a tree or snapping your leg like I did.
Or breaking your leg, yes.
Yeah. So for me, it's just a great way to let my mind completely disconnect from everything. Yeah. And when I am, for example, on a straightaway and I can just relax and breathe for a bit, and maybe that's going to be even for 10 or 15 minutes, because maybe I'm going from one location to another. It's incredible how I've disconnected now my brain from what was on my mind. I'm now able to make these new connections to maybe problems that I had that I was unable to make those connections or find those solutions for before. And it's incredible it's a whole thing when you're in the shower, right? There's research that supports great ideas come when you're in the shower. Why? Because you kind of just forget about everything. And the moment you let your mind wander a little bit, it will find solutions to previously unresolved problems.
Yeah.
And I find that happens to me as well when I'm cycling.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I talked about, having the time, utilizing your time. And, we've taken time out to the lake. We've gone, we were up there from last Wednesday to Sunday. And, just because you're away doesn't mean you're away from your business. You physically can't go out and have meetings. Well, you can, but I mean, your physical presence right now isn't as important as it was before, when you had to be doing site visits and things like that. I mean, we're in a different state now, and so much stuff can be done through technology. And so that's what I'm saying. If you have an opportunity to get away, go with the family, go get an Airbnb for a week or whatever, you still have access to your business because technology has made it so accessible for us. So take advantage of time, take advantage of technology, and take advantage of family experiences. For instance, we are on Saturday, we are leaving and we're going to Wyoming until next Friday. We're putting in 31 hours on the road to go explore. Like we talked about going out to the Black Hills, and I told Sarah, I said, you know what, if we're going to go out there, I have the time. We have the ability to connect to technology, so we can still stay on top of our business. Again, 31 hours on the road, we'll be fine. We have,
right.
So we're packing up the kids. We're going to go to the Grand Tetons. We're going to go to Old Faithful. We're going to go to Devil's Tower. We're going to go river rafting. We're going to do some activities that we normally wouldn't be able to do in the summertime because our business is so busy. Well, now we have some, I shouldn't say downtime, but we have some slower time where we can take advantage of these opportunities.
Right. And obviously this is very, region specific. I mean, there's no way we'd be allowed to do a trip like that up here.
Yeah.
Not a chance. So between South Dakota and Wyoming, that's really cool. You guys can do that.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say really cool. I guess it is what it is.
Yeah. We've been very fortunate. We're in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. South Dakota never actually shut down their state. We were one of the few states that stayed completely open. We did have different regulations and stipulations, but for the most part, we abided by those regulations, and then they opened things up slowly. We're going into phase almost like 2.5, going on to 3 here coming up soon. So things are really opening up for us. And, even though things are opening up, we're actually still seeing a decline in cases, which is really exciting, knowing that, there's kind of that light at the end of the tunnel. And again, that's where I know people across the country are in different situations. All the Ryans out in Jersey and New York, they're in a whole different situation we are. And that's why just reaching out to, some of my friends on the East Coast, and reaching out to some people in Chicago area and the West Coast over in California, just letting them know that, hey, you know what, we're here. If you want to talk, if you want to just, catch up, I'm definitely here to help you brainstorm. And a friend, Joey Heck, out in California, he said, hey, I'm working on this project, and, I'm going in front of the city council tonight to kind of pitch these ideas to them. And, so we sat down and we just kind of hashed out some ideas that would make sense for him, his business, and also for the city and its stipulations that they have. So again, I mean, it's just fun to catch up with people and, see how they're doing.
Yeah. Am I unmuted? Yes, I am. Sorry. It's a live show, folks. I'm juggling a million things. I'm glad Jeremy had a lot of breath there to go.
Dave has like 25 rooms in his house, if you haven't noticed that already.
Oh my God. Not in this place. Not in this place. Yeah, it's I'm curious to know how else people are keeping their, how are you keeping your mental health in check, or do you feel it letting go? If you feel like you are losing control of that side of you, shoot me a message. I'm an ear for everybody, always, anytime.
Yep.
Dial me up at 2 a.m. if you need. I don't really care. I think, in fact, I almost wonder if, we should maybe start a little movement within the special events world that, look, if you just need someone to listen, call me. Because it's so stigmatized, which is really, really sad. Depression and struggles with mental health, there's still such a stigma around it that people don't want to concede it in public. People don't want to talk about it. I mean, we have, I'm sure you do as well, but we have something up here called Bell Let's Talk Day, and it's all about promoting the openness around mental health. It's a day celebrated once a year here, but it's still such a difficult topic, especially for people in our industry, mostly male dominated. Hello, try getting a man to open up. Mostly A-type personality. Hello, try to get them to concede their faults and their weaknesses. I mean, the deck is stacked entirely against really our industry in being open about this. And look, not a single one of you need to put on a show for me. I really don't care about the face you want to provide me with. What I really care about is what's behind the face. Now, if that matches what I see on the surface, fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't care about the surface so much as I care about what's behind the surface. And if you feel like you're living a life right now where you're struggling to keep up with the surface appearance that you project to the world, because maybe you want your industry, your local community to see you as the strong type, so that when things come back, everybody knows that, hey, Dale, he's that rock that I can always count on. He didn't even blink an eye through this whole pandemic, but yet on the inside, you're just like, you're barely keeping the walls up around you.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't want to talk to somebody in your area. I get that. I totally do. But I'm not in your area. And I know that because I live in the middle of nowhere. I know nobody that's watching this right now is in my area. So dial me up. I'll make time. Time is something, and don't feel like you're wasting my time, because with all due respect, you don't have that much control over my schedule.
Yeah.
It's up to me to choose, and I choose this.
Yeah. So interesting thing. You talked about, what was the day?
It's called Bell Let's Talk Day. It's sponsored by a cell phone company, believe it or not, but it's called Bell Let's Talk Day, and it has become a massive thing over the last 3, 4, 5, 8 years. I'm not sure how long it's been going.
Sure. So the mental health awareness is May. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. And
yes, that's right.
Yeah. And crazy thing, because I was driving the other day and I saw a bunch of people holding up signs, and, it said like, we're here for you and we support you and all this stuff. I'm like, what did I miss? What are we picketing? I don't even know what's going on. And then I saw one of them that said mental health awareness, like hashtag mental health awareness. I'm like, right. Oh, okay. So actually I just typed in mental health awareness month, and the CDC actually has a public service announcement on Google. And it says, be kind to your mind. Tips to cope with stress during COVID-19. Number one is pause, breathe, notice how you feel. Okay. Number two is take breaks from COVID-19 content. I think that is probably the most toxic part of all of this is, you probably don't see it near as much as we do, but it's all political this, political that. And it's all based on, they brought COVID-19. He brought for COVID-19. This is the reason this is impacting us because of the politics. But the COVID-19 content is so toxic. It doesn't matter if you see something positive or you see something negative. As soon as you see something positive, you're still thinking negative. Well, how does this affect me? Like Disney World is opening up in July 11th, I think, is their opening for Disney World again. And again, I think you can look at that as a positive thing, because now you can go to your clients and say, hey, you know what? Great things are happening. You're looking at one of the biggest corporations with the largest amount of people coming in their doors, and they're opening up. They're making the decision to move forward. Are there things going to be different? Absolutely. But it shows you that things are moving forward. So again, number 2, take breaks away from COVID-19 content. Number 3 is make time to sleep and exercise. So we just got the sleeping part I'm missing. Okay. I need to work on that a little bit more, but the exercise thing, like we said, go for a bike ride, go for a jog, go for a walk. You could all you have to do is some type of physical movement. And
can I quickly mention PE with Joe? If you've never heard of PE with Joe on YouTube, you have no excuse for not moving. You don't even have to leave your house.
I do not know that one.
I tell you what, you were on a roll, so I don't want to distract too much.
Well, I do. We're going to check this out after this. After the show, we're checking this thing out.
Yeah.
Number 3, make time to sleep and exercise. Number 4 is reach out and stay connected. We wrote these things. The CDC just ripped us off. They're watching this show right now. The show is tapped. And then number 5 is seek help if overwhelmed or unsafe. And I think that's a good home run right there. You might not even realize that you are going through stress. You might not feel it right now, the anxiety. And I think, if you ever have that notion that something just doesn't feel right, I need to talk to somebody, make sure that you reach out to them, because not everybody, like you said, not everybody can see the facade. They can't see through the facade. They can see how happy you are, but maybe on the inside, you're really struggling. Mm-hmm. So if you feel any type of anxiety, just reach out to somebody and say, hey, you know what? I feel uncomfortable about something. And I think, because our business is down or whatever it is, this is your opportunity to get someone to help you stay accountable and stay mentally healthy. Yeah. Because that person can now come back and say, well, did you pause and breathe? Did you, are you getting rid of COVID content, getting it off your Facebook feeds, those type of things? Are you making time to exercise and sleep, and reaching out and stay connected? Or have you reached out to other people and see how they're doing?
Yeah. And I just want to address something as well. And people might, I don't know if they think this about you as well, but I will concede I'm a glass half full guy, and I wear a smile on my face a lot of the time. But I'm not going to say this to try to, try to empathize or try to find common ground with some of you maybe. But look, so I'm sorry, John, but I had a really shit day a couple weeks ago. Okay. This happens everywhere. It sucked. I gave myself a timeout, went and laid in my bedroom while my girls were outside. I have no idea what the hell they were doing. I was in charge of them. It was just a crappy day. And I don't say this because I want to wear a badge of honor, but just being real, you're not immune to it. I'm not immune to it. Jeremy, Lord knows you and your wife are not immune to it.
Oh.
I mean, look, I know a lot of power couples in this world, and Jeremy, you and your wife are one of those power couples, but I know you're not immune to it.
No.
I mean, Glenn and Miranda, another power couple. I know they're not immune to it.
Right.
I don't care who you are. You're not immune to it. I'm not immune to it. Nobody's immune to it. And God, I wish we could acknowledge these things to our friends and family a little more frequently. I have no problem sharing this. My mother is a pastor, and she had a really, really rough week 10 days ago. And she sent out all of us an email for kids and what have you. And she detailed out in that email why her week was so rough.
Yeah.
And, I called her up later that day that I got the email, and we had a great visit. And, the next email from her was just thanks, David. That was really, really wonderful. I'm glad we caught up again. And she had a really, really rough week. I mean, it's those people in ministry right now are having almost as unique a challenge as those in special events are, because they can't be with their congregations, at least not in every province in Canada. I'm not sure about the US, but that's another ballgame altogether. I might encourage, if you are a religious or a spiritual person in that regard, where you're connected to a community, reach out to your leaders of that community, because they're often the people that we're supposed to lean on during these times, but they need people just as much right now. And I know that firsthand.
You hit a lot of nails on the head there.
Apologies to the nails.
Yeah, no, I wanted to see what the closed captioning was going to put in for where you swore. And it said, "Sorry, John, but I had a really good day." That's what it said. I'm like, how does that get that out of that?
Wait, for real? Like, this thing's being live closed captioned?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, the shows do have that on both Facebook and YouTube.
Did you see that, John?
I did not see it. I was listening, and my jaw hit the floor. It's like, Dave said a naughty word. Oh my goodness.
And I think that's the first time we've ever swore on this show. So I'm like, I'm watching the closed captioning. I'm like, I gotta see this. And it said, "Sorry, John, but I had a really great day."
I'm going to have to replay that back and watch that. Oh my God.
I think it only does it in live. Is that right, John?
I'm not sure on that. I guess I would think it's got to be there, because people watch them after the fact. So yeah, it's got to be there.
That's funny. So John, are you good? Are you good to get video back on?
Yeah, I could be.
Cool. So have you been? You probably haven't even been listening to what we're doing.
Yeah, I actually have been.
Okay. So the title's wrong. I don't know if you caught that in, because it says, "What type of business structure should I have?" LLC.
Yeah, they could have been. They could have all been. They're probably all off.
No wonder nobody's watching the show.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
No, there are people watching.
Stop trying to negatively impact John's mental health.
Okay, really so let's stay focused. You're right. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. Well, really, it's the guy from Canada who's using foul language on the screen.
Yeah. So John, we were talking about mental health, and I think people see mental health outside of what's currently going on, but what are your thoughts? What are you guys doing as a family? What are you guys doing? I mean, look at Ben Stowe. He's out camping with his family right now, and they're still doing a fantastic job over at NLFX. I mean, I'm like, hey, I need some stuff. They're like, no problem. It's on the way. It was here in like 2 days. It was incredible. Mm-hmm. But it goes to show you that, again, taking breaks away from some of the stuff that's surrounding us right now. What are you?
Really, it's getting into different projects and similar to what Dave was talking about with doing schoolwork with the kids, has been a positive and a frustration all at the same time. And we've in this time, kind of stepping away from the DJ, I haven't, beyond the virtual prom I have not touched a controller. I haven't fired up virtual DJ. And as I mentioned last night, there's a part of the reason for that is that it's almost kind of painful to really to do it. It's really depressing, because it's like, there was always, you'd go and you'd put music together in folders, and it'd be like, okay, I'm getting ready. I know this wedding. I've got this thing on a calendar. I don't have that right now. My next calendar event, everything was cleared until October 2nd. And then my November events, they went because they're worried about the fall flu season. So they went so everything really now is May of 2021 is my really next semi for sure event.
Wow.
So I've just spending time doing other projects. The garden, we've put some time into working with that, spending some time with the kids and having moments, because of the kids being busy and still doing their things. There isn't a ton of time to be able to have 6 hours of uninterrupted time, which now the fishing boat is ready to go, and that's going to change some of that, because now the school's all done. They're going to be with for several hours at a time, so that'll be kind of fun, and I'm looking forward to that. But it's, I guess, doing other things.
So tell me, what about Michael? I know he's been doing a lot of, you can see that kid is just a natural behind a DJ controller.
He's-
What are some of the things that he's currently doing just to kind of keep him fresh with his music and keep him fresh with his skills and those type of things? What is he doing?
He completely left it. I was wondering how this was going to work, and he's completely walked away from that, partially because he's got school. He's been doing a lot of schoolwork and such, and I think that the distance side of it, in school with the time schedule and things, he would never have homework, and he was always getting pretty much straight A's across the board. For some reason, this distance thing just did not click with him as well. He's putting a lot of time into it. And I think what he's doing is he's putting more time into some of these things because he feels to get there where when he was in school, he could compare himself to the other kids in the classroom. But yeah, the music side of it, he hasn't, I don't think I've even heard his subs on in his car, when he's been driving around. It's like he's just really compartmentalized that part of it. And I'd be more concerned to a point, except he has he's got a girlfriend that he's been hanging out with and seeing here for the last few months. And they've been spending time together and watch, when they could finally, they were apart in essence for about a month, but when they could go, they'd go get an ice cream cone here or do this, do that, whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, I was wondering how he was going to react to that, because he had 3 big proms lined up and he was getting his things ready. And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks ahead, everything's gone.
Yeah.
So,
that's crazy.
And I haven't pushed it with him because I don't know if he's, once the school thing's done, once the things settle down with that, we'll have that discussion in a more in-depth way. I'm not detecting some of the depression type things. I think it's just, it feels more like a busy teenager.
Yeah.
Who just prioritized and said, okay, that's not here for the next 6 months. This is the this is the fire I've got to go put out. And I believe that's it. But, Dave mentioning that mental health thing is just so huge right now. And I get getting calls from DJs who are beside themselves, as you guys have gotten too. And it's, you've got to be real. You've got to be, looking at and making educated decisions for yourself and for your business. And it's tough to be, super positive. That glass half full thing is I can't do it all the time like you can, Dave, or at least how I perceive you to be that upbeat and always positive person, because sometimes you get those weeks or you get those days and it's just like, there's nothing that looks positive today. And I've been there, done that.
So one of the things that I really do appreciate a lot of the DJs doing right now is they are going on their Facebook pages and they are putting mixes out and things like that. Now you were working on a conversation with somebody working on licensing or whatever it was. Right. I saw a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So we were talking, we talked to some representatives from the recording industry about what it would take to get a live stream license put together for DJs. Specifically we were talking the club things for like what we're doing on Facebook right now, or what we were doing. And then the idea that as a wedding DJs, when we go forward, if we have areas in which we're not going to have all the guests there because of whatever it is, we need the ability to be able to share that remotely with grandma and grandpa, aunt and uncles who couldn't be there because of health concerns.
And probably can't log into Twitch and watch you on Twitch.
Exactly. I mean, obviously Twitch is a possibility, but as we're hearing now, more and more accounts are getting caught on Twitch. So it's just a matter of time before it gets caught. It's just the way it is. So we had opened the dialogue and started discussing that with them, and a couple of the hang-ups that we have with this going forward is one is that they have to log everything that would be played, similar to what radio stations do. It would have to, the songs would have to be logged, and then there would have to be the ability to submit that so that the artists that were used could be compensated. And a license amount could be they could come up with a license amount for X number of dollars a month, and that would cover that, and the logs would be filed. The concern they have is that DJs are not very trustworthy, their words, that they could not trust DJs to write down the actual things that they were doing or to log things properly. And even if the software would, is that DJs have a propensity to modify and change files, which is something that they would prefer in many cases us not to be doing. But it's like redrums, remixes are big.
Yeah.
So for the club side of it, basically they said there's just no way we can foreseeably do it because we just don't think it's worth the time and effort to try to put something together to police DJs. On the wedding side, it is possible. And the wedding side wouldn't be that difficult, except we would have to have a pre-approved list of songs that would be, these are the 5,000 most played wedding songs. That list we could stream from, but we'd have to stay within that list to do what we would be doing. There's a possibility there. And we're kind of looking at that a little bit more. The other side of it is there's two music services out there that are legitimate music services for the DJ industry in the United States that they're wanting to get streaming. But one of the problems is when one of them goes and approaches this group and says, hey, we want streaming, then it's like, okay, so if one of them gets it, then how do we handle the other ones? Because there's this competition thing going on. So that's something that's like, so if I come through as a third-party entity and can somehow help you guys put this together, and then they can offer it to the music services for wedding DJs, is that something that could happen? And the answer came back as yes, because then the streaming services, the music that those services give us to stream within our software.
You already have the right.
They've got everything already done. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
gotcha.
So there is a possibility with the wedding side of it. It's just now to get an idea, and I have to spend a little more time talking to with Memorial Day. Nothing didn't bother to do much of anything last week because of some things going on. So, but that's the next discussion is the managing of the content and how it would be done.
I think it would be great if there was some type of, you look at Virtual DJ or Serato and, it shows a little icon that show, like this song is a video, this song is almost if there was a way to detect the songs that were in that 5,000 list. And if it wasn't in that list, then it would just automatically mute that stream or the song going to the stream, but it can still play live. Something like that, I think would be really fantastic. Cool. Now, if that's a possibility, I have no idea.
Yeah. And it's so hard to say when you've got, like on when a person could use Spotify and Virtual DJ for that 5 seconds that it was there, you could do it. But you couldn't crossfade. So they had the ability to manage things and know what songs were being played and how they were being played and where they came from. So the technology is there. It's just to get things lined up. And then a question is, is there enough out there for DJs who will spend the $100, $200, $300, whatever it takes to utilize that service? And those are all questions that the labels come back and say, yeah, we don't think so. Not worth it.
Yeah. So the reason I brought this up is because I love seeing the DJs going on and doing, lunchbox mixes and people doing mixes here and there. Again, I think that is a great way to keep your talent sharp. But also, music is just such a way of relieving tension. Playing music and mixing music. We do a kids party every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 o'clock. We do a 20-minute session where we just play music. And you know what? Sometimes it's like, oh, I hate the song, but it still gets me moving. It still gets me active. And, that's what I love to see all the DJs doing is just, play some music and use that as a way to help you with your mental health. If you're feeling stressed, if you feel like you need a break from something, it's like musical or musical artists. They'll just go pick up their guitar and they'll just play riffs. They'll just play songs, and it allows them to kind of have that stress reliever. So again, that's kind of what I want to leave everybody with for myself is we talked about those 5 things that the CDC had posted. Actually, here, let me just read them off real quick because I think these things are really important. Number 1, pause, breathe, notice how you feel. Number 2, take breaks from COVID-19 content. 3, make time to sleep and exercise. 4, reach out and stay connected. 5, seek help if overwhelmed or unsafe. And 6 would be go get your decks and play some music and have some fun.
True that. And I'll just leave people with, I think, is something that I've really enjoyed lately. I only subscribed to this probably earlier this year, maybe late last fall, and it is the Tom Black Center quote of the day. It gets emailed to me once a day. Lots and lots of nuggets in there, and I just want to read off one that I saved because it hit me right now with what's going on. And it's by Max Dupree. I should look up who that guy is because I don't know, actually. Maybe he's like a murderer. I don't know. But anyway, he said this apparently. In the end, it is important to remember that we cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. We cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. Absolutely love that. And for me, anyway, it was quite timely. So I will leave you all with that this evening.
Excellent.
John, thanks for having us on tonight.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for jumping in.
I'm Jeremy Brech, DJ Jared in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Thanks for watching, guys.
Dave Ternier, Manitoba, Canada. Good night, everybody.
Good night.